Good morning, lovely people. A bit later today. I've had other things that I needed to get along with. Still in the same place, and obviously feeling much better again today, and hoping that next week everything will be maybe back to normal. I don't know. So today, Freak Out Friday, in the face of adversity. So today I'm gonna try to be even more honest than I have been in the week. This is something that's really difficult for me to share. I'm not very good at sharing myself in my authentic self. I put on a big mask most of the time so that people think that I'm okay. I don't like sympathy or people feeling that they need to look after me, and that's something that I'm working on, because we all need looking after and we all need someone to care for us. So, Freak Out Friday. So today's subject is in the face of adversity. I've had lots of experiences, as I'm sure you've all had experiences in life, that have made you feel a little bit bad about yourself, or worse about yourself, or things that you've had to deal with that you really didn't want to have to deal with, but you had to deal with them, and they were they crushed your soul. So I kind of wanted to talk about a few of those from my experience today. There's been loads of stuff in my life that's been absolutely amazing, but the balance of that, there has been lots of rocks in my river that I've had to have my head bashed up against, and learn some difficult lessons in life. So I kind of want to start maybe from the beginning. So I'll start from my childhood. Um, I was always thought of as a child that didn't need a cuddle or a hug. I don't know whether that's true or not. I can't think back to that point. What I can remember is my teenage years. They always seem to be the most relevant time of our lives, where we change when we develop into the young adults that we become. At high school, I really felt like I didn't fit in. Um, I didn't have many close friends. Everybody knew me, but I didn't have anybody that I could share myself with. Um, I struggled with accepting who I was, because I didn't seem to fit into all of the little um, cliques or the little groups that were about in my year group. I suppose the only time that I felt maybe I fitted in a little bit was when I was with a dance company, a youth dance company. But even then, I felt a little bit like I wasn't quite the same sort of person as them, and I think that comes down to having that low self-esteem that we talk about. I don't know where that came from, but I do know that's how I felt. I always felt like I was a little bit weird, and not really normal. Um, but now I've had lots of years to kind of develop myself and think about these things. And now I see myself in a more positive life. I see myself as being unique and different. And I really like to celebrate that. As I was saying the other day, and about celebrating your weirdness. But it's taken me a long journey to get to that point where I've felt that I can accept who I am. And so now, instead of putting myself down and saying, you're a little bit weird and you don't really fit in, I've kind of flipped it on its head. I am unique and I am different, and I should celebrate that, because I'm surrounded by people that also kind of bring out the best in me for that. So maybe it was just a situation that I was in that kind of created this feeling in me. When I was about 19, I suffered from anorexia, quite badly actually. I was, again, self-esteem. I didn't like the way I looked. I was training to be a dancer, and the cliche is right. When you're a dancer and you're training and your body is on show all the time, all the little crumples and all the little bits and pieces that you don't like about yourself are there for the world to see. And it wasn't just about the way I looked, it was about how I felt about myself, because you're constantly told that you need to, your bum can't look that big, or it's all about body awareness. And so for me, having lower self-esteem anyway, my body became this thing that I was constantly trying to better. and I got down to about 5 stone at the age of 19, and I looked awful. I looked really ill. Um, and I didn't talk to anybody about my mental issues that I was having. I obviously had lots of help with the physical side of things. You know, people would watch me to make sure I wasn't going to be sick after I'd eaten and things like that. But I didn't look after myself, and my self-esteem was really, really low. And I know that that part of me is never going to go away. I'm always going to have that self-doubt about the way I look and who I am. And comparing myself to others, and it doesn't matter what anyone else says to me. If they, even if they say to me, "But you're beautiful," you go as a kind of that mindset. You don't believe that, and it took me a long time to tell myself that I was a good enough person, and that my looks were not the most relevant thing about me, and I really started to challenge all of the things I was successful at, and started to love myself, and because I really didn't like myself, and that was my punishment, I suppose. I punished myself. So the way that I kind of deal with that now is I don't compare myself. I try not to compare myself to other people, and I try to tell myself that I am beautiful inside and out, because I'm me, and I wouldn't want to be any other way. So that was a really difficult time for me, and it still is an issue. And I don't have scales in the house, and I try not to look at there's not many mirrors in the house. I try not to look at myself too much, not out of fear, but out of respect for my well-being, because I know it will never go away. So that was really difficult for me to deal with. But as I say, life has kind of guided me, and I'm in much better position with that. I've not had any issues with my weight for probably about 20 years now. So there is an end to there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm just trying to pick out things that have really stuck with me. So not being able to fit in, having anorexia. When I was about 21, I had a miscarriage, which was a very, very lonely and very difficult time for me. I was still living in Leeds. I'd finished university. All my friends had left and gone home. I have no family around me. I was at a really low point in my life. My partner had just left me. And I had to deal with this miscarriage. Nobody knew that I was pregnant. And to this day, it's probably going to be a shock to some people that watch this, because they still don't know. This is Freak Out Friday for me. And that experience of feeling alone and feeling so on my own with having to deal with this situation that I just didn't, or hadn't got a clue how you deal with that loss, was a real journey for me. And I went down some very dark routes after that. I drank a lot. I partied a lot, and tried to push it all away and tried to push it to the side so that I didn't have to deal with that damage that had been done to me, because I had nobody to talk to. And I suppose what I'm trying to say is that when we go through these really hard times, don't go through them on your own. Find someone. I would phone the Samaritans. I still do phone the Samaritans sometimes if I'm having those moments. Or find someone that you can trust, just to share that with them, because it's such a heavy thing to hold on to yourself, and you don't deserve that punishment for something that you had no control over. And that's one thing that I'm kind of learning right now, is that you need to share. You need to get your feelings out there so that you can make sense of them, and so that you can grow from that and be happier in your own self. So the big thing that happened to me in my life was I was in a very abusive relationship about the age of 23, 24. And this one was big for me. Being in an abusive relationship, again, is not something that you can go and tell all your friends about because you're embarrassed that you've put yourself in a situation where you don't have enough courage or enough self-esteem to get yourself out of that situation. And I was in this relationship for 6 years, and I just remember some nights just lying there thinking, I need to get out of here, but I've got 2 children, and I don't have enough confidence or courage in myself to do anything about this, because this person had made me feel so bad about myself, had brought me down to the lowest of the lows, by constantly chastising me, by constantly embarrassing me in front of anybody just to make me feel this big. So I felt belittled, I felt demeaned, I felt that this person had taken control of me and was making me believe all of those wicked things that he would say to me. And it wasn't until I found courage from being around people that I didn't tell them how I was feeling or what was going on. But I was working in prisons, and suddenly everyone thought that I was this amazing, strong, confident person, and it slowly kind of dawned on me that, yeah, I am this confident person. This is who I am. I'm not this creature that my partner was telling me I was, that was putting me down, was making me feel horrible about myself. And so at that point, when I'd kind of come out of that situation and into a job which was challenging, and I had to step up, I kind of found my strength and thought, yeah, do you know what? Yeah, I am strong. No, I'm not useless. No, I'm not this pathetic doormat or this pathetic woman that you want to drag your shitty feet all over me all the time. And it was that point that I got out. So again, it was about, I don't know, fortune or the circumstance just came about 6 years too late, but it did come about, and I did find that courage to get out of that situation and have some self-respect for myself, to finally know that I wasn't all those things that I was being told, and I was surrounded by people that really did enjoy me and could see who I was, and I wasn't who he said I was. So that confidence came from that, and belief, self-belief. More close to now. I was in a marriage for 14 years, or in a relationship for 14 years. And I changed who I was. I became this, all I can explain it is a recluse of myself. So after all of those things of dealing in my life with all the things that I dealt with, I was in a relationship where I did feel secure, but I also felt quite suffocated in I couldn't be myself. And so I became a bit of a recluse. I kind of backtracked quite a lot and became this person that was a bit of a wallflower. And I didn't challenge myself as much as I had done in the past. I didn't have any friends. I had friends of my partner, but I had no real friends that I could connect to. So my work was very imbalanced. I was a mum. I still am a mum, but I was a constant mum, and I became a bit of a recluse. And it wasn't until that relationship ended, and all those friends disappeared, and judged me, that I kind of was reminded back to not fitting in, and being lonely, and feeling trampled, and not liking who I am. So all of those things I've talked about, so not fitting in, anorexia, miscarriage, the abusive relationship, all came right to the forefront. And all of those things that I dealt with so beautifully, and worked them all out, suddenly were thrown right back in my face, and my self-esteem crashed again. Because these friends who had been friends for, I'm not talking 5 months or something, they were my friends for a decade or more, suddenly weren't there anymore, suddenly were judging me, suddenly were making me feel all of those horrible things I'd felt before. And I kind of, that punishment I punished myself, because I started to again believe that I was this this person that they all were making me out to be, and they weren't shy about telling me either. It was all on social media. They were telling me to my face, and it was a hurtful time, and a difficult time. I mean, and now, again, I'm surrounded with people who love me, who enjoy being in my company, who are my friends, who will step aside for me, put time aside for me when I'm at my low points, because I need them. And I think what I'm trying to say in this very long-winded way is that in the face of adversity, you can overcome anything. You just have to be honest about what you need. And once you're honest about what you need and what you do to achieve that, then you can overcome everything with strength, with confidence, with love for yourself, without consideration for judgment. The authentic you needs to know what it is that you need to be able to get over that hurdle, or not crash into that rock that you're aiming for in the river, and just help yourself. Just don't be stubborn about it. Get help that you need, and don't be afraid to ask. So that was my Freak Out Friday. I don't know if they'll happen every week, but thank you for watching, and have a great weekend. Peace out, people.